Hello everybody and welcome back to another review. Today we're breaking into the Kyomi Rio, one of the fastest glass pads on the market. This review's been a bit delayed. It's kind of allowed me to have quite a bit more extra time. I apologize for the delay as well. Today we're going to be breaking into my thoughts, my experience, and kind of how I feel about the pad overall. And let's break into the overview. So to break into the Kyomi Rio a little bit, just to give you guys an overview, it's one of the recent additions to the speed pad market. It's been out in the past month or two. It's recently gotten quite a bit of popularity due to just how fast and textured it is. It's also been beating pads like the Glassworks Zane, which is notoriously one of the fastest in the past, and then also the Sphoriacea, which is one of the more notorious fast pads recently. And it's just been really quick, and it comes at $110, which is a bit more on the pricey side, but with that you get one of the fastest pads on the market. So now, after discussing that, let's break into the size and thickness and all the bits and bots. So, breaking into the size and thickness, the Ryu comes in at 500 by 450 millimeters with a 2.2 thickness, which is just kind of the perfect amount of thickness in my opinion. It's a thin pad, but it's enough thickness where it doesn't bend when you're holding it or things like that. It's not really bending in my hand, which if you get into the really, really thin pads, it starts to bend when you hold it, and it's just a really crappy experience in my opinion. It stays sturdy under pressure, and the size is a bit on the bigger side, which I know most people appreciate. I know a lot of people like big flicks and big arm movements. Personally, I'm more of a 490 by 420 person, but it's a pretty good size, I can't lie to you. And let's break into the base now. So, let's get into the base. So, the Rio has a custom silicone base, which you can see here. It's an interesting pattern, and it has Kyomi written right here on the back. When it comes to the silicone backing, it's really not going to go anywhere. I mean, I'm putting full pressure into it and it's not moving. It sticks really well to the desk. It's thankfully not like the smooth silicone backings, which are horrible. It's got a really good backing to it, and you're not going to be disappointed. So obviously we're going to break into the most important part, which is speed and texture. This is kind of the definition of speed when it comes to a pad. It feels like I'm the Flash on this pad. I mean, you can just see it just glides endlessly. It's super quick. Obviously this is with jades, so it's going to be a little quicker than normal, but it's really surprisingly controllable though. The texture is extremely high on this pad. One of the highest I think I own in my collection as well. And it really gives you a ton of skate texture. Like, it feels more texture on your skates than it does your hand. It feels phenomenal when it comes to that. If you're a skate and texture enjoyer, then this is perfect for you. It gives you so much feedback around the pad. You kind of feel exactly where you're microing, you know when to stop, and then with that, the texture and the speed, you would think, oh, I don't have any stopping power, it's so fast. But that's not the case. You have a ton of texture that you can push into, and you really feel that stopping power, especially even when not pushing it. Like, I can stop on pretty much a dime and hit micros really, really well on this pad. To describe the texture of it, it's like a dry, rough kind of texture. It doesn't feel amazing on the skin, but with that, it gives you perfect skate feedback, and it gives you good micros and stuff like that, and good stopping power. But with that, it's also super, super quick. I don't know how to reiterate that enough. It's literally feels like the speed of the Flash in a pad. It's super quick, and it has a good combination of stopping power in comparison to the speed. So I think even like on tech FPS games like that, you're not going to have a huge struggle when it comes to stopping, just because it has that really good texture and skate feedback. A lot of people fast pads, like feel like you like are going to struggle a lot when you are like doing big movements. You're going to struggle to have that stopping power and that friction because it's just so quick. But this is not the case because it has that high texture. A lot of speed pads have more of a smoother texture, which can cause just not having stopping power, or it feels like you have no skate feedback. You have no idea where you are on the pad. But that's not the case with this. It feels like you have a ton of skate texture, a ton of stopping power, a lot of texture, and it's just phenomenal experience when it comes to speed pads, because like most speed pads just don't feel that great to me, but this one's really, really nice. So let's break into skin, stick, and sleeve usage. The Rio works pretty well with the sleeve. I don't have one on currently, but it doesn't stick on my skin horribly bad when it comes to like just first time playing. But more of the issue with me was on the non-sleeve usage and contact with my palm and thumb, because I palm, so it just makes contact. Even if I wear an arm sleeve, it still makes a bit of contact. I don't like the wrist sleeves just because they make it feel too fast and hard to control. But the dry texture can cause some issues when it comes to humidity. It was just unfortunate, but I felt like my skin was occasionally stick during longer sessions, especially like I said right here, where I would get stuck sometimes and it would slow me down, and it would be really frustrating because I wouldn't be able to hit a flick on an opponent. It's one of the main things I look for in a pad is less skin stick, just because I do palm, and skin stick just really bothers me, especially because I live in a bit of a higher humidity client, which is in Texas, so it's pretty hot here most of the time. I know it's not like Florida, but you get my point. I don't think it's a deal breaker. I think the skin stick is tolerable enough where it's not really going to be a big deal, especially if you wear a sleeve, you're not really going to notice it. But I'm a bit picky, so I do want to point it out in case there's some other people that really, really care about skin stick. It is a bother for me on this pad, but it's not horrendously bad, and you should be fine with the sleeve. So you guys probably obviously are wondering how it feels when you play. So honestly, when it comes to the Rio, it's quick as fuck, to put it simply, which can be kind of off-putting for some TAC FPS players. Because it might be overwhelming to them. Like, some people really don't like really fast pads on TAC FPS because it just might be overwhelming. It's too fast. You can't control it. You can't get good micro, stuff like that. I know I'm really talking really fast, but I don't think you should be scared of it using this pad because of the skate feedback and the stopping power it comes with the texture. I would recommend the pad probably like this more torch tracking games just because it is so quick, and I know a lot of TAC FPS players don't like quick pads, but if you do like a quick pad and you're a TAC FPS player, then this might be the perfect pad for you because you get the perfect micro and stopping power when it comes to glass, but mixed with a really, really high speed. So it's kind of a perfect combination if you want a fast pad on TAC FPS. Otherwise, when it comes to me personally, I play a ton of TAC FPS and not as much tracking games, but I still really had a lot of fun using this pad. I wouldn't say it's my main, just because I'm not a huge like high speed enjoyer, just because I like a bit more control. But when it comes to the end of the day, I think my main glass, like it just has to be like a balanced, like high stopping power pad, which obviously this isn't. But for people who do like high speed pads and want to try it on TAC FPS, this is the perfect pad to give it a try for. But I had a lot of still really good experience with this on CS, for example. Like, I can still follow targets easily, and I feel like I could still micro adjust pretty decently well. And that's kind of it for my input on gaming. So we're going to break into comparisons here, and I'll see you guys in a minute. In comparisons, I kind of chose an odd one at first, just because Odyssey is a balance pad, but it does come with quite a bit of texture, so I kind of wanted to give a comparison of texture, especially because it's a newer pad. So with the Odyssey, it's actually noticeably less textured and less dry feeling. Obviously, when I come to speed, it's going to be 9 days difference. Obviously, this isn't supposed to be a high-speed pad. But I kind of wanted to give you guys the idea of texture, because Odyssey has been kind of known as one of the more balanced pads that came out recently that's textured. But this blows out of the park when it comes to texture. Obviously, this has a bit more of a smoothish, like less dry feeling, but this is really dry and rough in comparison, but it's way more textured as well. Skate feedback's also look noticeably quite a bit higher on this. Same with audio quality. I'm not sure if it picks it up, but this is noticeably a bit louder. Edges wise, I think that the lock-on just does a little bit better. It has those almost polarity edges where they're like 4D. The Rio edges are just a lot thinner and smaller, which can lead to a bit of more sharpness if you're hitting it at a hard angle. Besides that, though, both spaces stick well. Obviously, this is faster, this is slower, but I kind of want to give you guys an idea of texture, and that's it. Let's break into the Zane. So to break into the next pad, we have the Zane, which I know isn't the fastest pad in the world, but it is probably the fastest I have on me currently, unfortunately. So when it comes to texture, Rio once again has that more of a dry feeling, and it's a bit more textured, although the Zane is more textured, like the Odyssey, for example. When it comes to edges, I could say the same thing about the Odyssey. They're almost like same as the Zane, so I think they're a bit better in the Zane. When it comes to speed, yeah, it's night and day. Like the Rio's has that such a longer initial glide, like it just lasts so much longer. When it comes to skate texture, obviously this is so much louder and so much more textured when it comes to skate feel. The Rio doesn't have as much push-in as the Zane now, I feel like the Rio has a bit less push-in. So if that's something you're into, then the Rio doesn't have as much. Besides that, I really don't think there's much else to cover. The Rio is faster, more textured, a bit more dry feeling. I think slightly worse edges than the Zane. And besides that, if they both feel great, if I had to choose between the two, I think I would go the Rio just because it kind of breaks the cap on speed. And I do think I actually have a bit more stopping power on the Rio than the Zane. So we also have the Kyomi Hoshino here. I know this is kind of more of a random comparison, and they're kind of completely polar opposites, but I kind of wanted to give you guys an idea if someone owns like a Hoshino, what they would be experiencing differently. So obviously this is way smoother. The Hoshino has less than 50% texture in comparison. Like this is night and day. Like this may feel a little less dry, it may feel a little smoother, less rough, but this is really dry, really rough, really high texture. Whereas this is kind of in the middle, maybe even below in the middle of texture. Speed wise, obviously I think the Rio blows it out of the park. but I don't think the Hoshino was ever intended to be super, super fast. So the unique thing with the Hoshino is most of the pads have rounded edges, which obviously these do, but they targeted more of like a full square edge, which is a really unique aspect. Obviously thickness-wise, they're about the same. Both stick really well. If I had to choose, I think I'm still going to go to Rio because the stopping power is fantastic for the speed comparison. This doesn't have much stopping power, unfortunately, just because it's a smoother pad. You don't have that skate feel. Obviously, I'll give you guys a bit of a sound test versus very noticeable. And that's about it for comparisons. Let's break into the conclusion. Appreciate you guys listening. Alrighty, to come to a conclusion, I would say the Rio is one of the fastest and most textured pads on the market. It is a speed lover's paradise, and honestly, there isn't much else when it comes to speed pads. It provides a ton of skate texture, it's quick as hell, while providing quite a bit of stopping power, and you're really able to feel your micros. I can say that this pad works pretty much well in every game. I don't have any issues in tracking or attack FPS, but if you are a attack FPS enjoyer and you don't like fast pads, then this isn't for you. But the only downsides I have for this pad are the skin stick, especially without sleeves. It's just a big pet peeve for me, especially during long sessions. Keep in mind, like I said, that my experience is also different from you because I live in Texas, so it's probably a bit higher in humidity for most people. But that's been kind of my experience at the Rio, and I can recommend it for anyone looking for a speed texture pad. Like, this is probably the best pad I would recommend for a speed texture pad. And I believe in the next few days they're also restocking if you do want to get one as well. Kyomi is on Twitter, and they have their own website. I will link in the description, and I appreciate you guys listening. Have a good one.